welcome to T-Boys TV. We are back again with another Hatter Show, obviously episode 113. Quite a lot to get through today. Obviously, we've got to get into the Chelsea game because we haven't fully done that yet. And then obviously we got a League Cup game, but obviously with heavy rumours today that we are linked with a Newcastle player, which obviously his name is in the title. So we'll briefly get into that. You know, what does it mean for other players if he does come in? Because apparently he's having a medical today. And, you know, etc., etc. But like always, I'm joined with my dad. How are we, Dad?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Cute.
Yeah, all good. All good. You know, sometimes it is a bit annoying being a Friday night game and not coming out on top because then you've got to watch all the other games. But obviously we did take on Chelsea, as we know. Going into it, you know, I thought they'd edge it. You know, games over the years, they have been, you know, close with Chelsea. Obviously, the FA Cup games, like I mentioned, when I, you know, said about my 2-1 prediction. You thought potentially it maybe get something, you know, which makes sense going into it, you know, especially the fact Chelsea is still gelling. You know, you saw what they were like in the last game week. You know, I think they're only shining light in that West Ham game, and I said it at the time, was Raheem Sterling. And obviously going into it, we knew he was a player we had to watch out for. But obviously, lineup-wise, pretty much what we said, bar Burke. So obviously that was Kaminsky in goal. Giles as the left wing back, Kabore as the right wing back, Bell, Lockyer and Burke as the back three. So obviously Burke was the difference. We thought maybe Anderson would be in again. Midfield, exactly how we thought. Barkley, Nakamba and Chong. And then obviously, you know, the front two, Morris and Elijah. As for the bench, Anderson, Berry, Brown, Doughty, Johnson, who's obviously a youngster, got a chance, obviously, against Middlesbrough last season. Krul, Ruddock, Chio and Woodrow. You know, looking at that, it's obviously a good squad. Like I said, it's what we wanted. You know, it's not like we didn't want Reece Burke in. We did have that feeling he'd maybe be in because, you know, for me, the reason I thought is because he got that goal against Chelsea. Also, you know, he can be solid on his day. But I just thought at the same time, you know, with him just coming back, I thought he'd maybe come on at some point in the game. You know, obviously Anderson as well, since he's come in, he's been very composed, you know, and he's even had a few opportunities from set pieces. But expected lineup, you know, other than that. But what did you make of the lineup and the bench and all of that?
Yeah, same as you, really. Like, I was just a bit surprised. I felt Burke come in, but then I thought that Anderson would be pushed out to left centre back because I'm not sure, but I'm apparently he can play anywhere across the back three. So, you know, that's the only thing for me. Like, it's a bit surprising. Bench is quite strong, so yeah, it is what it is. But as soon as I saw it, I thought, you know, Bell up against Sterling, basically. Do you know what I mean? Really, well, Giles and Bell. Giles and Bell cannot defend that well. You know what I mean? That level. Let's have it right. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, going into the game, you know, obviously the first half, it was an interesting one. You know, obviously they did, you know, obviously get that goal in the 17th minute. Who else but Raheem Sterling? You know, like we said, going into it, he's a player we got to watch out for. He looks like he's going to do well this season. Obviously, you know, him and a lot of other Chelsea players, you know, obviously for their standards, it was a very poor season. You know, good finish by him. You know, I do feel we could have done a bit better defensively. You know, people are going to me, oh, but it's Raheem Sterling. For me, it don't matter. You know, and it goes back to what you said there, where Giles and Bell, they're not good enough. You know, when it comes to, you know, defending against these sort of players. You know, you saw it there. You know, I think it was just too easy for him to you know, get the shot away, to be honest, and actually make that run. But it was a decent goal by him, but like I said, I felt we could have dealt with it better. How did you feel when they got that goal to go 1-0 up?
Yeah, similar. Obviously, he's got quality, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Basically, a world-class player, right? Let's have it right. So,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, against other teams in the Premier League, you know, teams that are better than us, you might say, they possibly might have got a block in there, maybe. Do you know what I mean? But and you can kind of see these things, you know, because every goal, whether it pretty much can be prevented in some way, unless it's like someone has just, you know, ran into space and scored a 30-yard volley or whatever, you know, that then things happen. You do see goals like that, but you can still see where this potentially, with better players, would have been, you know, potentially blocked. But you know, he's a good player, and it was a good finish, and it's a lesson learned, isn't it? You don't really get that so much in the Championship, and certainly not at the levels below that. You don't get that quality. In pretty much every game you're going to play, there's players that can do that to you. So yeah, it was, you know, it is what it is. You know, it wasn't like we could definitely have prevented it, but I do feel like if we'd have had defenders, then it might have been dealt with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely agree. You know, and then watching the half later on, obviously I was on the watch along. Big up to everyone that tuned into that. Obviously, a few new subscribers as well. You know, I thought we were quite. Yeah, I thought we were quite poor, to be honest. You know, in the later stages of that first half, you know, we were giving away the ball a lot. You know, and Campbell was doing it a few times. You know, he hasn't lived up to what a lot of us thought he would. You know, where he'd continue. Really, you would say that momentum from last season. He hasn't really lived up to that yet. Gave away, you know, a few silly fouls. You know, on the watch long, he did obviously get a yellow card in the first half. At the time, I was like, I'm not sure. But looking back, it is a foul. You know, let's be real, it is a yellow card. Obviously, Lockyer got one as well. He's obviously not started off, you know, too great as well. But then again, for him, it's, you know, obviously he had that unfortunate, you know, moment in the playoff final. So there's that to, you know, think about when we talk about Lockyer returning in that sense. But it was just frustrating. You know, it's frustrating. Yeah, you know, Chelsea, they're going to be up there this season. They are a good team, but I felt it was easy at times, you know, the way we were giving away the ball. I think the only bit of, you know, goodness, you know, in the first half, if that's even a word, it was Chong, you know, making runs and Kaminsky preventing it from being even more similar to Brighton. You know, Chelsea had an opportunity before the first goal, actually. It's flown back into my head where obviously I think it was Sterling again, actually. He had a really powerful shot. Yeah, it was straight at Kaminsky, but like I said, it was very powerful. And, you know, sometimes with, you know, the defenders in the way and that, you can't quite see it. And he made a good save, you know, from that. And like I said, he prevented it from being even more, even from Brighton, you know. But like I say, me saying that, neutrals will probably look at that and go, oh, so, you know, you should have lost more than, you know, you're saying then. But that's not really the case. It's just we're having spells where, you know, the other teams are just, you know, you can see their quality compared to ours at this current moment in time. But what did you make of the first half as a whole and the yellow card incidents?
Yeah, well, so, you know, obviously they're going to dominate possession, but we are sort of giving teams a little bit too much respect to feel as well. We just couldn't play. We clearly can't play direct football away from. You know, they were saying that this performance is better than the Brighton one. Yeah, not there was the similarities there, and you could say it was better, but because we didn't concede their late goals and stuff, but we were powder puff, you know. We know we can play better, and it's easy for neutrals just to look at that, see how certain players perform, and go, yeah, they're definitely not good enough. Look at them, but we know that them players are not playing to their full capacity, certainly not. So yeah, it went to 1-0 again, which isn't too bad considering their fans with a lot, well, something, you know, 5-0, 7-0, 8, you know, this, that, and the other. I knew that Sterling would perform. I said to you before that, you know, his form he was in, he is in, and it was in the previous game. You know, of course he ain't gonna. Players with that quality to show no fear against any team. You know,
Yeah.
so he's, you know, and we just couldn't deal with him. Let's be honest. But yeah, it weren't too bad in the first half. But yeah, sloppy passes, panicky defending. You know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Out a little bit and just sometimes just let the game flow. Don't do it, because if you're doing them things, it makes it so much easier for the quality team to just carry on doing what they're doing, because you just put yourself under pressure. So it weren't too bad.
Yeah,
it could have been worse.
Yeah, like you say, to be 1-0 down, only 1-0 compared to what some of their fan base are saying. Exactly that. But moving into the second half, I thought we started it off pretty well. To be fair, leading up to I'd probably say where there's about half an hour left. I thought that build up from the 45th till about then, we were good. Obviously we were going forward, we were getting the ball a lot more, and it was good. It was good that we were doing that. Chong, like I said, he has been one of the players that I knew his quality was there anyway. Because of obviously Harry. Shout out to Harry, obviously Birmingham fan. He was telling me how highly rated he was at Birmingham. Obviously Man United as well. We had the odd few games, didn't he? And what he done against us, in that 5-0 game, single-handedly, pretty much. I just knew the quality was there. And like I said, out of the signings we've done, it was between, when they were announced. It's changed at the moment since they've played, but my favourite ones was Chong or Giles, and if Chong is showing why at the moment. He's not afraid to go on the ball. It's another game where Chelsea was struggling to deal with him at times. He was getting fouled and that. You've seen that a lot, in the pre-season games as well. Wolves, the Brighton game, you saw it as well. So you've seen it in a lot of the games so far. And, he was making good forward runs, good forward passes, and he was very good in the midfield. He was very good in the midfield, and I was impressed with him again. But like I said, after that, around about half an hour left spell, they did unfortunately get another one. We had some good opportunities. I remember saying on the watch long, the next goal's massive. It's a shame I said it, and then they scored. But I did say on it, if they score again, it probably will be over because the momentum will be with them. If we score again, then obviously it's game on. If we score a goal, it's game on. But we did have the opportunities. Giles had a very good opportunity. I'd probably say that's probably the best opportunity for us in the game. Unlucky. Took a deflection. Maybe if he didn't take that, could have been a different story. Sanchez did flap at it as well, so I think that's how you could tell it was a deflection as well. But yeah, they we did have our moments, but then they did get the goal, like I say, to kill it off for me. Raheem Sterling again. And to be fair, out of the 3 goals we conceded, this one was the one I was least disappointed with because it was just really good play from them. It wasn't really like we could have really dealt with it because it was just the quality just showed really in that goal compared to the first and third for me. More so, we could have dealt with them too. But Sterling again, gusto with the assist. How did you feel when that one came in, and how did you feel we played up until that moment?
Yeah, like I say, the second half, we did start off and we was getting confident, and in that respect, we were a bit more not dominant, but we had a lot longer spells of possession and a bit of creativity that we did against Brighton. Yeah, that shot was unlucky. That was a very good passing between all Elijah and Morris, or Morris to Elijah. That was good passing. That is quality what they were doing there. And yeah, he was quite unlucky. He did take a little deflection, which sort of maybe have helped him. Otherwise, that might have been going in, and that would have been game on. But yeah, and that's with certain players playing poorly. So that is positives there, because Giles, I don't think he got a decent crossing whole game, and
it was very disappointing to what we've seen. the expectation because of based on what we've seen of him, it wasn't good enough at all.
Show that he can deliver them pinpoint crosses and stuff on a kin potentially with Ward-Prowse, and then look what he does and get any of them corners, couldn't be the first man. And I have to say, like, these, if you sign in players, obviously you signed him for his quality and stuff, but if he ain't performing and you've got other players and you've got competition in every place, you need to be switching them around, especially like in the Premier League, because you think Doughty wants to sit on the bench. No, he doesn't, mate. Every time he's gone on, he's looked good. He's looked active. He's got the confidence, like, and he has got the ability, and he put a decent cross in. So yeah, there was that, and yeah, it was quality that goal. But could you have prevented the cross? I don't know, but other teams will deal with that. It's not that easy. Chelsea ain't going to do that against every single team. So it can be dealt with, but we're just not used to that.
Yeah.
I think it's more the quickness that we're just not used to.
Yeah.
And
because I remember even when we was watching that Wolves friendly, me and you, Wolves, they're going to be down there, let's be honest. And, even their quick passing, their tempo, that's a team that are, going to be down there as well. So,
but you can see we're working on it, because if we'd scored that, would it have been the equaliser or brought it back to 2-1, whatever? That was quick passing from us, quick incisive passing, bang, 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 so we're obviously learning that, and we obviously got the players to do it. There is enough players there to do it, but when they're panicking at the back, and then that's where it's getting concentrated on. We're not being able to play our football because basically we're just pretty much defending them a hell of a lot, and we weren't used to really doing that. In the Championship and the League, you get you don't get that pressure so much, and it gives you time to header it away and things like that. Whereas now you just haven't got that. So you need to find a way to deal with that, and certain players will help you deal with that in the right positions, etc. Yeah. So we did have a good moment. It was good, and the fans were massive, and that's helped. So, and then Chong come off, and he wasn't happy about it, but not necessarily. I don't think it's because he'd come off. I think it was because he was so frustrated, because he done well in the first half. He put one stray pass in the second half. Remember, like, he just tried to quick pass it himself. You see, he's used to doing that. He got blocked off, but you got to be working on that. That's key, and I'm sure we will. Like, still 2 games in against decent sides. That's not muck about it. They should be top 6 sides, both of them. So
yeah. Okay. No, absolutely, and that's the next thing I was going to move on to. Subs. There were probably, obviously, other than the fans, like you mentioned there, another positive in this game, because every single one of them was really good when they come on. I thought, they all showed that they were trying to do something. Doughty, like you say, he don't want to be on the bench. You can tell, and obviously, we'll get into lineup later, but I think he might play tomorrow, and that will give him a good chance to show what he's about. Obviously, we know anyway, but give him a chance, because the others have not been that great. Let's be honest. Brown, again, he looked very good when he come on. Obviously I said, he looked very good when he come on against Brighton as well. He was the reason we got the penalty, obviously playing the ball into the box. And, had a few moments here, did get a bit of a yellow card, which was it was definitely a yellow card, but he was showing that he was, trying to make things happen. He was going forward. He was, if he carries on like this, he might have to start a game at some point, I really do think that, because he's just showing that he's he's trying to do stuff. He's trying to do stuff when he's coming on, and like I say, you look at the Brighton game. Yeah, obviously we lost it, but he was the reason we got that penalty. You know, if he never crosses that in, Morris is not getting the first goal ever. you know, in that sense. So, you know, obviously that happened. Ruddock as well. He looked very good when he come on. You know, shout out to him. You know, I do think, you know, going forward, he will be more of a sub player, you know, especially now we're in the Premier League. But I do definitely think he's, you know, he's always been underestimated when it's, you know, he's been, you know, can he do the step up, etc. And I think he's just going to show people that he can again. Obviously, Chio come on as again another player, you know, that's looked good when he's played for us. You know, rapid, you know, tries to make things happen again. And obviously Anderson come on for Burke as well. That was the other one. And yeah, I can't really remember too much from Anderson, but again, you know, they were 3-0 up by that point. Obviously, this goal, I was very frustrated on the watch long, you know, to concede this goal. Now, it's similar to the other goals they scored in the sense where the ball was played across, but I just don't know how that one's ended up getting across, you know, to Jackson to make it 3-0. Obviously, like I said, for me, it was done at 2-0, you know, because just all the momentum was, you know, gone for us and it was just there for Chelsea. But yeah, that goal, that was the most annoying one for me that we conceded out of the lot. But yeah, what did you make of that goal when that went in?
Yeah, the reason like it basically it sort of clipped off of Bell's ankle, which diverted it from going into the path of Lockyer and Anderson. So it went ahead of them, and obviously Jackson's athletic and etc. You know what I mean? He just steams in and just basically gets happy. You know. So that was a bit unlucky, but again, you know, just deflection. You know, if he'd have left it or not got contact with it, Lockyer, and it would have gone to Lockyer, and he would have cleared it. But you can't. Is what it is. Like, you know, maybe other defenders, because Bell's, like I said, is not a defender, so maybe he would have attempted. He would have trusted in his centre backs, if that makes sense. I know you're trying to. It's a difficult one, you know. So, but the subs, you know, they were excellent. Doughty, yeah. Chio looks good when he comes on. He's got that ability to get past players, get into the box. He's strong. He's always willing to go forward. And then Ruddock, when he come on, he nearly pulled off a shot like what Naismith done against Bournemouth, because he brought it down, didn't he? And then he was I think it was blocked, but he looked very lively when he come on, right? And that's key for us, because that's what you need. You're going to need that all season, and that's good to see. But at some point, if certain players on the pitch are not doing it, like for me, Giles, I would have took him off way earlier than that, because it just wasn't clicking. It just wasn't clicking. You know, how many missed crosses or you know, the corners didn't get past the first man, and you know, the crosses into the box were always wayward. They weren't even close. So I would have took him off earlier.
Yeah. No, like we say, for his expectations, the crosses were dreadful.
Working quite hard. Elijah showed some touches, etc. But we just weren't playing it up to them. You can't blame them that much, because they're not getting the ball. So,
yeah,
it was just frustrating. And you know, got to touch on the ref, because they were getting away with quite a lot. You know,
Enzo should have got carded way earlier. I said that on the watch along.
Yeah, he should have. And the fact that he kept waving it every time he did make a tackle, he just waved his finger. No, that wasn't a foul. No, that. You're not the referee.
Yeah.
But you get that in the Premier League, don't you? That's the problem. It is going to be frustrating. I feel like Lockyer needs to be a bit careful. Like, the yellow card was for like a push, I think, and then he was grabbing hold of someone's shirt in the box, and you can't do that in the Premier League. We can. I see it, but not. You can't be like every game, like every corner. That you could do that in the Championship pretty much and get away with it. But in the Premier League, you definitely won't be able to. And he would just look a bit clumsy at times. But I think that's just him getting used to the level. Because other than that, he was actually pretty decent. I feel, compared to the first game, I think he was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, no, I agree. He definitely was better. But that's all we're going to say upon the 90 minutes. And then we'll jump into the player ratings, go through some comments. Big up to Spencer inside. He says, "Come on, you Hatters. Big up yourself, mate. I hope you're well." Obviously, he's very happy with the Liverpool win yesterday, mate. Obviously, I watched that with Jack. Jeez, he was loving it, mate. He was absolutely loving it. That was a crazy, especially with 10 men. That was mental, man. I remember he was sitting there dejected. Most of the game he thought it was done, mate. It was done. But yeah, no, brilliant comeback that was. With that, big up to Alex inside as well. And Jackie is inside. She says, "Hi, Titan Daz. It's going to take time. It's all new. We'll probably have to wait a while for a win. Hopefully not. Hopefully we do get one tomorrow and then progress in the cup."
Yeah, we should do that. But yeah, in the Premier League, because we keep playing team. Well, Brighton, excellent last season, confident. Chelsea, the manager's good. The players are hitting form and that. And now, obviously, West Ham are looking like they're off to a flyer as well. So,
absolutely.
Everton,
we'll get into that, later on in the week. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, moving on to the player ratings. So obviously, we'll start off with Kaminsky. Now, it's very tough for me between him and Chong for man of the match, but I did decide to myself I'm going to give it to Kaminsky. In the end, I just thought, again, similar to the Brighton game, like I said earlier, he prevented it from being even more. Made that very good save, like I said at the start of the game, where it's straight at him. But it's a very powerful shot. There's a lot of chances in the second half as well. Chelsea had where he tipped it wide and, made some good saves, like I said. So, and based on these performances from him, he is going to be the number one. And also you can see he is able to take that step up in the Premier League. Like I said, when I was talking to a Blackburn fan, when we were rumoured with him, he was saying he's definitely, Premier League quality. And you are seeing it, in these early games, just how confident he looks and, just the saves he's making. He is, for me, he we're going to see this with a lot of our players. Can they make the jump up? But based on these performances, I'd say he definitely can already, to be honest with you. But when it comes to a rating, I'll go with, like I say, he's my man of the match. Obviously, he did concede 3, so you can't really go too high. I'll go with a... Go with 8, even though he conceded 3.
I'll give him 7. I thought he was good. Like I say, he's definitely you can see that he's got that quality to be a Premier League keeper. He's really showing it. His positioning, his reactions are excellent. Really, really good. And yeah, he prevented it from being more, as he has done. And that must be frustrating for him. But at least he's getting in the action. Let's be honest. It only makes him look better, and it's going to give him more confidence going forward. So, but yeah, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Moving on to the next player, Kabore. Again, he done a cross, didn't he, in the game, and it was shocking. It was very frustrating. It's just a wasted opportunity. He does make good sliding tackles, but considering Man City want to keep this guy going forward, he hasn't shown us why yet. I thought in the Brighton game he was decent to start off with, but then as the game went on, he weren't as great. I think he got a yellow card in that Brighton game, didn't he? And from that moment on, I was just like, take him off. Take him off. It wasn't great from him again, to be honest. I'd probably say he was worse in the Brighton game, to be honest, because like I said, in that Brighton game, he started off well. But yeah, in this game, not so great. For me, I'm going to go. I'm going to go with. I don't even know what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with 5.5.
I don't think it was that bad. I think it was a mix game for him, like it was in the Brighton game. He done some good things, but then he done some noticeable poor things as well. So I think he just needs to settle. That's all it is with him. I think he has got the quality. He's definitely got the pace, and I think he has got the quality. So I'm just going to give him a 6.
Fair enough. Moving on to Giles. Like I said, for his expectations, the crosses were poor. Like you say, they weren't even beating the first man. Obviously, I was getting frustrated on the watch level because I know what he's capable of, especially when it comes to crossing. Set pieces, which I felt we could have hurt Chelsea with. You see it in the most recent game that we did, and Ryan Giles weren't even there at the time. But yeah, it was just disappointing. It was just disappointing. His level of crossing, it was awful. If we're being honest. So yeah, not so great from him, to be honest. I'm going to go with another 5.5.
I'll give him a 5. Like I said, we've already discussed it. His crossing that was terrible. Can't say it was a fault for the goals, but he's not a defender, so he's not in them positions. And the Middlesbrough fans were saying that as well. And that's at championship level. So I think we need. I would prefer to put. I mean, we keep saying Bell's not a defender. He is a defender, but not in that position.
Yeah.
He ain't played left back for how many games? I reckon 20, 25.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. Well, yeah, it's 2 games in, but we've seen better against Wolves. He was good. Against Brighton, he was decent. But this game, he was poor. 5.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then moving on, we'll go over to Burke. Obviously, good to see him back. Obviously, we saw him in the training, so, we knew he'd be in the squad. And yeah, he weren't too bad. Like I say, with him, you've got to take into account that he's just come back. And I thought he was decent. I'd probably say he was probably the best out of the lot in defence, to be honest, in this game. Like I say, he's getting into the swing of things again. I'll just go with a 6.
Yeah, I'll just give him a 6. Like I say, it was his first game back. There was moments where he looked all right. Going forward and stuff, confident on the ball, etc. So, but can't really judge too much. But it weren't a bad performance from him, really, to be honest. Because the goals were already in pretty much before they got anywhere near, like, for him to prevent them. Do you know what I mean? So 6.
Yeah. Then moving on to Nokia, like I said, obviously it was a better performance than it was, for him against Brighton. Like I say, obviously we do have to take into account, obviously that injury he's had, so it might take him a little bit, longer to get into the swing of things. But he was better. Like I said, he was, heading stuff away at times. Did get the yellow card, and he probably say got away with the Thiago Silva foul, to be honest. If we're being honest, he was pulling his shirt, especially VAR and that. You need to be careful, with that. But yeah, I thought he was a lot better than Brighton, like I said. So for him, again, I'll sit same as Burke. I'll go with another 6.
I'll give him 6.5. He was a lot more confident in this game. I only really saw him once, like, legging it back to which he's not used to doing as well that much. He's not got that pace that Premier League players have got. But it was definitely a much better performance for him. as we know, he's probably still slightly behind everyone else. I'd give him a 6.5.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then moving on to obviously a last defender that started. We say defender, not in this position. Amari Bell. Obviously, again, it's not his natural position, but for me, we need to be filling that role. Obviously Isaac Hayden, which we'll get into as a midfielder who can play in defence, but we'll get into it. All I'm going to say is I'm surprised we're not, getting defender, now instead of maybe him first. But Bell, I'd say not great on the first goal. Third goal is unlucky, but yeah, it's just frustrating because even last season when we were, fighting for playoffs, we were saying we need to fill this position. Same with the right wing back. Because, you look at the options for the right wing back, and we were putting people in that are midfielders. Predominantly Doughty, Jordan Clark went there a few times, Fred. They're all midfielders, wingers. They're not defenders. Or fullbacks. So it is frustrating. But yeah, like I say, it's a difficult one because it is not his natural position, but it's just annoying that we just haven't filled it. And it wasn't great on the first goal for me. Conceded 3 with the back line. So for me, I'm going with a 5.
Yeah, I'll give him a 5. We don't want to be too critical of him because what it basically is, and actually in the second half, he did come forward more as well and do what he was doing in the championship. I'd say in the championship, there's less urgency, there's less pace, things like that. So in that position, he did sort of do pretty well in it. Let's be honest, but he could come forward more. But when we're just defending, and that's not his natural position, he's just going to get exposed. Simple as that. So it is a bit harsh, but we've got injuries. We ain't got no one else to cover there as well. But you have to give him a 5. If a player can't cope in that position, you're going to have to change that.
Yeah, exactly. That's moving on to the midfield. We'll start off with Nakamba. Like I said, he hasn't carried that momentum for me that he has, or that he did, from last season. There's been times, since he's come back where he's given away silly fouls. Sheffield Wednesday, yeah, it's a friendly, but still annoying to see. And again, got a yellow card here. Silly tackle to do, man. It really is. Got a yellow card there, and sloppy passes. He needs to sort it out. We need to be honest. He needs to sort it out, and I was disappointed with his performance, and I've been with a lot of them, so far. So for me, I'm going with another 5.
Yeah, I'll give him 5. Exactly. Sloppy passing. He ain't doing what he was doing. Anchoring this. Like I don't get it. I don't know if he's trying too hard because he's got that Premier League experience. I'm not sure what it is, to be honest. But we know he has got quality, so we just need that to click. But in this game, it just didn't click. Let's be honest. It's frustrating. 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to Barkley. Obviously, we knew he'd start this game, especially if having the training sessions he's had. It makes sense as well. In a game like this, Chelsea away, experienced Premier League player as we know. You can't really say too much because it was his first game. There wasn't really much that he done right or wrong because he got the ball a few times. Just done what he should really, but there wasn't really too much from it. You can't really say too much for me. I'm just going to go with a standard 6.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6. I mean, the worst thing from him was when he took the free kick and blazed it over. Yeah. Other than that, he was a lot. You could tell he was a Premier League player because he was a lot calmer on the ball. He knew where to pass it. He's thinking. He's got that second ahead thinking that the other players need to get. He's already got that. Chong's or certain players already got it, and Nakamba should have it, but he's not playing like he's got it. So it's average. and if everyone else is not playing so well, it makes it difficult for other players to excel sometimes. I'm sure we can see some real quality from real good goals, etc. I really, really do. But he weren't poor.
No. And then moving on to the last midfielder that started, that was obviously Chong. Like I said, it was between him and Kaminsky for man of the match for me. Like I say, first half he's brilliant. He's probably the only shining light. In fact, he was the only shining light for me in that midfield. And like I say, it's not because Barkley was poor. It's just because, I wouldn't say he weren't in the game, but he just, it wasn't maybe what we had thought, where he'd be on the ball a lot more and that sort of thing. But Chong making them forward runs. Chelsea was struggling with him like a lot of other teams have been. Hence why he keeps getting fouled. And he was doing some good forward passes out wide, especially on the right hand side. So yeah, he was good. He was good for me. For Chong, I'll go over 7.5 because I think in the second half it weren't as good, but he weren't awful. He didn't turn out to be shocking. He just weren't as good for me.
Yeah, I'll give him 7. But it is my man of the match. Passing, he's definitely got that quality. I can't keep saying that now. He has. He's good at tackling. He seems to win the ball, and then see things ahead as well. That second ahead, like when Casido slipped over.
Yeah, that was
that direct run into the box as well. Shame about the shot, but you could see what he was trying to do.
Yeah,
and that's all good signs. And out of anyone so far this season, for me, he's been decent, and I know he can get better as well. So it is pleasing to know that you have got that quality, and when everyone else gels, it's just going to benefit us. Because he don't give up, and he was frustrated when he come off. My man of the match, but 7.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Like I say, it was close between him and Kaminsky for me. And then moving on to the front two, we'll start off with Elijah. Like you said earlier, I said it on the watch along as well. His control, the way his close control, the way he, does little cut-ins, and that is Premier League quality. We saw it in the playoff final. That goal that was just Premier League quality. And yeah, he was decent. Like we said earlier, it is hard for him and Morris to get the ball because it's just how defensive we have to be in these sort of games, especially against the two opposition teams we played. Away from home as well. At home, I expect them to obviously get them chances more because they're at home. It's just bound to happen, really, especially at Kenilworth Road. But he weren't bad. Elijah. Do you know what? For him, I'll actually go for a fairly high rating for Elijah. I'll go over 7.
I'll give him a 6.5. Thought he was decent. As you said, his hold-up play is looking good. And some of them, quality Premier League players he was doing that against. So that's all good signs there. They both didn't really get much service front two. But when he did get it, he was trying to do things involved in the shot from Giles as well. That was good play. 6.5.
That's fair enough. And then obviously the last one that started, Colton Morris. Again, his hold-up play in this game was decent at times. Again, don't really know what else to say though with Morris because, like I said, they weren't really getting the service. I think Elijah was slightly better in this game. I'll be honest. Usually it's more Morris, but yeah, I think Elijah was slightly better for me. So for Morris, I'm going to go for 6.5.
I'm going to give him a 6. He was just frustrated. He wasn't getting the service most of the time, and there was just basically not a lot he could do, really. That's all I can really say.
Yeah.
Where it was. again, he was involved in that shot. He played the initial pass. But other than that, not. I think he might have had a header, but nah, he just won't get service. And let's be honest, if Giles had delivered more, then he probably would have got it on the end or something, like 6.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then moving on to the substitutes. Excuse me. Doughty and Brown come on at the same time. Subs, like I said, alongside the fans were a shining light in this game. Doughty, looked very good. Like you said, put a good cross into the box. Brown looked good again. Energy, trying to make things happen. Other than the yellow card, which was quite funny. I felt, just the way he went in. But he was good. And like I said, if he carries on like this, I feel we should be given a chance to start. I really do. So yeah, when it comes to their ratings, I'll do it together because, like I said, they come on at the same time and they both look good for me. So, do you know what? Even though they come on, I'm going with a 7 for both of them.
Yeah, I'll give them both 6.5. They wanted to affect the game. Doughty is hungry. Good crossing, one corner, just look lively, look comfortable on the ball, and we know he's got that quality. So for me, but at some point you've got to change things and go, right, well, that didn't work. But at the moment, I don't know, it's difficult. But he's still on the bench. If he comes on earlier, I think you will see that it will affect the game massively. 6.5. Brown, same. He's very good. Works hard. We knew we'd get that. Stoke fans spoke about that. You can see that, and it's not running around like a headless chicken. He's intelligent, knows where to go, etc. And he's just going to make them runs. That's his play. And I think he could be a bit like potentially maybe like Morris was last season, where you thought, like Woodrow's the star, signing, etc. I think Brown could actually be one of the better ones, along with Chio as well. We'll get into next, but 6.5 for both of them coming up with subs as well. It's not too bad.
Yeah. And then moving on to the last 3, they all come on at once as well. 13 minutes to go. I'm going to give them different ratings though. Anderson, I'll just go for standard 6 because I didn't really see too much, and that weren't because of him. Like I said earlier, we were 3-0 down. It was done. So I'm sure you're the same on that, 6 again.
Yep.
Ruddock, he looked good when he come on. Like you said, he had that shot, and again, he's similar to Doughty, where they were regular starters last season. They want to be that again. You can see it based on what they're doing when they're coming on. So again, Ruddock, I'm going with the 7 for Ruddock, exact same as Doughty and Brown.
6.5. But yeah, come on.
And then obviously Chio again looked very good when he come on. I'll go for 7.
6.5.
So there you go. They are the player ratings. Obviously, your man of the match was Chong. And then obviously mine was Kaminsky. Like I said, for me, it's close between them two. So yeah, overall, about the Chelsea game, it's one of them where, we've had 2 very tough teams away. The scorelines in these games do not reflect how poorly we've played. There's just been spells where we've not been great. Throughout the whole game, we haven't been awful. The Brighton game, at 2-1, until the last, 10, 15 minutes, we were good. We were in that game. Chelsea won, we were in it until it was 2-0. But things to look at, like I said, it's away. You look at, let's be real now, you look how much they've spent, how much we've spent, they should really be beating us, let's be honest. Not emphatically as some of their fans were saying, no chance. But yeah, that's it really. Positives to look at is, shout out to the fans, like I said, that went
all game.
Very loud, very loud you know, obviously I don't have the sound all the way out, but I could hear it. That's how loud it was on, you know, fairly being on quiet sound. And obviously his subs look good when they come on. So if they carry on like that, some of them should start for me. You know, and obviously I think this cup game, which we obviously will get a bit more into, will help them as well, because I think a few of them might start and have a point to prove in that sense. But yeah, another positive is the next couple of games are at home. So we'll finally be at home and see what Kenilworth Road's going to be about for us. Obviously, we expect it to be good for us, you know, especially if the fans are like how they were at Chelsea away. Could you imagine what it'd be like at home, where it's, you know, tight, compact stadium as we know? You know, it should be good, man. It should be good, man. But any final thoughts on the Chelsea game, Dad, before we move on?
No, that's it. Just move on.
There you go. I'll go through some comments quickly, and then we will get into obviously the transfer news has come out today. Thomas Kaminsky is class as Luton Town fan. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people asking me this. Yes, I am going tomorrow. First vlog, probably one of the rare vlogs this season, let's be honest. But yeah, I am going. So yeah, there's your answer to that one. Big up to Stephen inside. He says, big up Ty, big up Daz, big up yourself. It says Kabore looked good going forward in the right hard, getting back, but he tried hard. But Tomo in goal beat him to man a match, so you're on the same page as me when it comes to that. Big up yourself, mate. Big up yourself. Fans wicked, yeah, absolutely, Jackie. They absolutely were. But yeah, like I say, moving on to transfer news has come out today. Heavily. Apparently, he's having a medical. Isaac Hayden. Obviously, he is at Newcastle. Obviously, he was on loan last season at Norwich. You know, he hasn't been in the Newcastle team like playing for a while. You know, obviously, quite a few teams were in the race for him alongside us. All championship teams: Southampton, Middlesbrough, Millwall, QPR, and West Brom, and obviously us. And apparently he's having a medical today. A lot of, you know, sources are saying it, so it's most likely true, you know, when it comes to that. But it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, you know, because like I said, I thought we'd go in for a midfielder. A defender, you know, especially one that could play on that left side. Obviously, Isaac can play in defence as well. He can play right back and centre back. But it's an interesting one. I mean, it's good, you know, when it comes to experience, because he did play a lot of games, you know, for Newcastle, and he was vital for them at one point. Obviously, his time at Norwich was, you know, cut short last season because he got an injury. So it's an interesting one. What would you make of this news that's been flying around that he's having a medical, and just him as a whole, really?
Well, he's a quality player. You know, he's made over 100 Premier League appearances for Newcastle, who you know, they're not a Mickey Mouse club or whatever. You know, no one's really like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're a decent Premier League team. He was consistently getting in their team under good managers as well, Benitez and that. So yeah, he's had a couple of injury issues. That's the only thing. And like that, you know, Norwich was saying, oh, he was, but he got in. I think he had 2 knee injuries there or something. He only managed 14 games, but they were playing him consistently. He's obviously got that quality and that ability and Premier League experience, and probably he's been brought in because of, as we've seen, we like to play someone in front of the defence, like Nakamba. Right? Maybe they're thinking, well, if Nakamba's not doing it, we need someone else. But we still need to sign a defender for me, like a left centre back. Surely we're not going to be just playing with Bell there all season. Surely not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he can play there. He might be able to. I know he can play in centre back, and he's played in right back, but I don't know about left centre back. Yes, he can. We'll see about that. Maybe he's a bit more of a utility player. It's interesting. It's only a loan as well. obviously more than likely because they would have wanted a certain fee for him anyway, because he's still like 28, I think, peaking his career. He can get that back on track. So it looks like it's done. But again, he's got all that experience, so it can only be a good thing. If we would have, if we was in a championship and we were linked with him, we'd be pretty pleased with that. So let's see what he can do. A name we've heard of, we've seen him play.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah, no, the positive is, like you say, it's on loan. I think that's good because, if it doesn't work out, because, he hasn't, obviously played for Newcastle for a while. Obviously, he had that injury spell. I don't know what his injury record's like in general. But, what I have seen, obviously it's a name we've, heard of. I've, seen bits of him. Tell you one good thing he's really good at, slide tackles, winning the ball. So hopefully he can do that a few times for us. That would be good. But I guess another thing is, like I say, he can play defence. So will he maybe play there, do you reckon?
If we need to, I think he will. But I can see him playing instead of Nakamba at points. I can. Because also Nakamba is into a yellow card, let's be honest. And sometimes if you need to take someone off and then play in that position, and you ain't really got anyone, I feel a bit sorry for Campbell, but I think Campbell's more going forward type of midfielder, and hopefully, I don't know, something tells me he's going to go.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking this earlier, and I don't want to think this because I feel, quite. It's just unfortunate for him. I don't. Maybe we're seeing something. Obviously the club will know better than us, but maybe we're seeing something. Sorry, they're seeing something we're not in training, and maybe he's.
No, I don't think it's that, because even when Lockyer done his interview in Sky and that, he said he was the hardest trainer, 100%. But you could link that to they've said to him, like, we don't know if you've got quite this, that, your stats. It's all to do with stats. Not that they're going to look at him and go, nah, you're shit, bro. Do you know what I mean? If his stats ain't matching up to other people's, and because that's what it's about, then I don't know. But every time we've seen him, I don't think he's 90% of the time he was very good. Hustling people down, winning the ball, scored some good goals. No, let's be honest. Before when they,
his goal was the goal that sealed the win in the derby, wasn't it? So
yeah. Before Roberts come in, he was playing pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And then other players started getting ahead of him for whatever reason. I can't quite work it out, to be honest. And of course, he'll be getting frustrated. But he has been on the bench. No, he wasn't on the bench in the last game, was he?
No.
It's going to be an interesting one. But for me, we need to get a left centre back. I don't understand.
Yeah. And this is how I see it. If he's not even in the lineup tomorrow, he's gone for me. I don't like to say that, because I feel, especially with Campbell as well, because how hard he works, we're not going to have a lot of possession, which we already know. He gets stuck in. He's always putting pressure on players. I feel that would be a massive miss, if he was to go due to that factor as well. So I hope it doesn't mean he does go. But like I say, for me, I'll be able to judge it more if he is. Like I say, if he's not in the squad tomorrow, that tells me he's probably gone. Even if he's on the bench. Which I don't think he should be anyway. But we'll get into lineups in a bit. But yeah, this is an interesting one. Like I say, for me personally, it's not a player that I'm upset with at all, because, like you say, he's got experience in the Premier League, and that. But I'm just surprised we haven't gone in, like you say, and like I've been saying, for a left centre back, first. you know, especially with what we've seen so far in the Premier League. It's not Bell's natural position, you know, and even last season we were, you know, saying we need to address this, you know. So and you know, that was when we was, you know, obviously up at high, you know, on a high because how well we was doing in the Championship. So it's all interesting. But any final thoughts you'd like to say on Hayden? Most likely be announced tomorrow.
Yeah, but we'll see. That's all I can say, really. We're just going to have to see. Like, he's decent. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Jackie says Twanzabi. Yeah, I'm not really too sure what happened about that. Apparently he was training with us, you know, and then I don't know. I didn't really hear much after.
It could be wage demands. It could be, you know, it's not just about. You know, they have to gel with the rest of the team as well, and they do. You know, I don't know. You can't really say that after training sessions, but we don't know what they look at, do we?
No, you don't. Yeah, no, I'm on the same. Obviously, I'll take him, but I'm on the same wavelength, Stephen. Where you know we need a defender, mate. We need a defender. You know, for me, I don't think we will do it, but we need another option for right back as well, right wing back, whatever you want to call it. Because again, that's another problem. You know, we feel we need.
He has played right back at times for other clubs, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he has, because I've seen Newcastle fans. You know, obviously he's main midfielder, defensive midfielder. He's played centre back, he's played right back a few times as well. So, but I just feel we need someone who actually is that, because you've seen the last couple of players, like I said earlier, that have played there. They're all midfielders except Fred, who was a winger. But even then, that's not a defender. So, I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what goes on. Hopefully, bring someone in that, you know, defensively as well. There's not too many days left, but we'll see, man. We'll see what goes on with that. But moving on to the game tomorrow, Gillingham at home, obviously in the League Cup. Like I said, I will be going to this one, so there will be a vlog. But yes, an interesting one going into this one. We're actually past the first round because obviously we're in the Premier League, so we automatically go to the second round. You know, maybe third, depending on where you finish. But obviously we're in the second round. And this one's an interesting one, you know, because historically, well, in previous years anyway, we have done poor in the League Cup. You know, like I say, we don't get past round one. Remember that Stevenage game we went to, Dad?
Mm-hmm.
That was shocking. That was shocking. That was actually the first ever vlog, I think, on this channel. Obviously, Newport last season, we lost that. I remember we was listening to it because there was no way to watch it. And it just was shocking. You know, looking at the goals we conceded in that game was poor as well. You know, I remember Lockyer had a poor game, but still scored in that game. That was actually when, you know, he was questioning, will he play again, you know, or play anytime soon anyway. So it's all interesting, man. It's all interesting. Gillingham, they are doing well as well, to be fair, in their league. Obviously, on the weekend, they lost 3-0, but before that, they're up there. They're still second. I know it's still early, but, you know, they're doing well. You know, they got, you know, the ownership sorted for them. They got a decent manager. You know, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, you know, especially if, like I say, how we've been recently in the last couple of seasons. But we're at home, you know, first time seeing a new stand and all of that. It's going to be good. It's going to be good to see that, you know, see what that looks like as well. How are you feeling going into this one, Dad?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. You know, this gives us a good chance to build our own confidence. Although it will probably be a much changed lineup. You know, they've started off decent in the league. Looks like they defend pretty well. By the last game, I haven't seen highlights, so I'm not sure what the issue was. They beat Southampton quite comfortably in the previous round, right? Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
So they're confident. Possibly they had one eye on us, the Colchester game, because that does happen. But we should, when we played Sheffield Wednesday in that friendly, and doing poorly in the Championship, by the way, we look comfortable against them without even trying. And this is a League Two team, and depending on what the lineup is, we should be beating them, especially at home. The fans are going to be there. I don't think it'll sell out, but the fans are going to, there's going to be a lot of fans there, and we'll probably see some players in action we ain't seen before, or making their debuts and stuff like that properly. So yeah, I feel quite confident that we should get the win. And
me, it's an interesting one for me because, like I say, it is a game. Obviously, on paper, you'd say we'd win, but again, it's not on paper. And what I've seen of us historically in this competition is not so great. But it would be a good time to get a win. Especially the fact we haven't won yet in the Premier League. It'd be good for confidence. And it's one of them where, obviously we'll get into the lineup in a minute, but I look at it and I think of the players that I would go with. I would look in previous seasons for a rotational side or second team, whatever you want to call it, and I'd say I wouldn't be as confident. Whereas, the team that I think I'm going to go with from the top of my head is probably good enough to beat most Championship teams. Gina in obviously League 2. So, when I look at it like that, it's a team that should be more than capable of getting a result. But obviously, I'll get into what I would go with, and obviously see if you agree with me, like always. So in goal, me personally, I would go with Tim Krul. I feel this is where give him a go in goal. He will be. He wouldn't have come to Luton just to sit on the bench. Obviously, he probably expects to be on the bench more, then obviously start. But at the same time, let's bring him in. Play them games. I remember Shay. Like I said, that game against Stevenage. Yeah, it weren't great. It weren't great. I know that was a couple of seasons ago, but still, sometimes them things just come back to bite you. And we've got a better second choice now. In Tim Krul. So, like I say, I'd go with him. How does Tim Krul not have a picture on here? I don't know. I'm not going with this formation. I'll go because of the shortage of defenders. I'm going to go with the usual formation, especially that we're at home as well. In the 5-2-1-2, it is on here. My back three, again, it's interesting. Thing is, if Burke didn't start the other day, I would definitely say he starts in this game. But I'd probably still go with him because obviously he is, coming back from injuries. So he's still, getting them minutes under his belt. But then again, if it was Anderson over him, I don't think I would be surprised. I don't think Lockyer or Morris will be in this one, like even on the bench or anything. So my one in the middle, obviously Osho's still out, Potts is out. I think I'd give Anderson a go in the middle, to be honest. Of that, obviously he didn't start the last game. Where is he on here? Where is he? What's going on here? Sorry, I found him like the other week. Might have to go down a little bit to find him. Okay. And where he is on here. Hold up.
Probably spelling his name wrong.
No, I don't. No. Tell you what I'll do. I'll do this. Aha, there he is. It's because he's still got Barnsley thing. That doesn't really help. And then the other centre back, I would drop Bell. You know, even though it is a cup game anyway. Do you know what? This one might be a bit of a, I wouldn't say a mad shout, but not a lot of people would go with it. I'd give, I don't know if he's on here. He's probably not. I'd give Johnson a chance. The youngster, he's probably not even on here, so I don't even know why I'm having a look.
You're right, but I think he's more of a right centre back, I think, isn't he?
Left back. He's left back.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me try his first name. Just see if he's on here, but I don't think he is, to be honest with you. Because he on flash scores, it don't even have his age. So you know, I doubt on here they don't even have pictures. But yeah, Johnson there anyway. You know, I can't put him in. Then left wing back, I'd go Doughty. I'd start him. I wouldn't start him in this one. Right wing back, and this is what I mean. We haven't even got options for a second choice right wing back. So based on that, I'm going to go Kabore because I don't really know who else is going to be there. Fred's gone out on loan. Clark's injured. Sometimes he goes there. I've already put Doughty on the left. I don't really know who there is. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, that's that. And in the midfield, I would go with... Midfield's interesting for me in this game because you could maybe go with Louis Watson, who hasn't obviously, played, weren't on the bench the other day. I feel this could be a good game to play him in. But I think you've definitely got to go with Campbell. If he ain't left, obviously I'm praying that he hasn't. Campbell, just due to the fact, he hasn't played any minutes in the Premier League, it could be a good chance for him to prove himself, even though I believe in him anyway. And then I would go with, I'll go Ruddock. Give Ruddock a go. Obviously, he looked good when he come on against Chelsea. So again, he has a point to prove in that sense. And then just higher up, you could go Louis Watson. You could go Berry. I'll probably go Berry. We've seen Berry play in Cam the odd few times. Obviously, like it says here, it's centre mid or Cam. Sorry. I'll go with that in midfield, which is a very good midfield when you think about it. When it comes to the second choice midfield right now. And then up front, I think I would go with... What would I go with in this one? I suppose it's got to be really... I don't think Morris will be in this one. So I'm going to go with Brown. He should be on it. There he is. And then I'm going to go alongside him, Woodrow. Again, Brown, point to prove here based on his recent performances. Give him a chance to start. So, yeah, that's my lineup. Any changes you'd make to that, Dad?
Yeah. I'd probably be still crawling goal. Although, potentially it could be Shay. Because my issue with this, because you're in the Premier League and now your priority is to stay up and you've signed someone like Tim Krul, the last thing you're going to want is him getting injured in a League Cup game against Gillingham, let's be honest. So I can see that potentially Shay might start this game. I do think there'll be a lot of changes. Joe Johnson's getting in there for me. He's going to start. I thought he was like a right sort of centre back or right back, but you're saying he's left back.
To be fair, I think he can play both. I've seen him on the left though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll put him there. And then I think that other youngsters are going to start. The ones that started in friendlies. I guess you might have one sort of senior player there, so we will put Reece Burke there. Maybe in the middle instead. I'm not sure, but I think there'll be another youngster. So I had a look earlier because I know that they've been playing quite a lot. Development squad. Whoever plays in one of the positions. Hayden Francis Clark has started. He started a few preseason games, so I think that he might start there as well. Midfield, Kabore again. They're going to. I think Doughty's going to play there. He can play in that position, can't
he? Yeah.
And then on the left, difficult one. I'm part of me is thinking that Bell might actually start in that position. Again, I think we're going to go with someone different. I think Louis Watson can play in that position. But he has played in that position before. I don't know if you remember. There was one point, but I don't think it really worked. I think it was against Grimsby.
And this is what this goes back to what I mean about the right wing backs.
No.
We don't even know.
But yeah, I'd say potentially Doughty on the right, maybe Bell or someone like Watson there. I do think potentially we're going to change formation anyway, so that's the difficult thing as well. It is going to be wholesale changes, and it probably will be something. But midfielder, I expect Berry. I don't think Ruddock will start. I think these guys will be on the bench. I think Campbell, if he's staying, definitely probably will start, and Berry. And then potentially another younger, or potentially, I was going to say, is it Watson could start in this game?
Yeah, I think he might ahead of Berry potentially. That was the only one I was thinking maybe.
And then up front for me, I'd definitely say Woodrow. But I think Chidozie.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
It's going to start up front with Woodrow. And to be honest, that's pretty decent. I think Brown probably be on the bench. I think Morrison, Elijah potentially be rested, or maybe not. Maybe they'll put them in this to see how far. Because if them players play, and they play Premier League teams or higher quality teams for the past couple of months, yeah, them players should destroy Gillingham. On if they've been playing to that level, so it should give them a little bit of boost. But I'll be happy if them two are up front. I'll be happy. But I do think there'll be some development squad players definitely starting that game for me, because that's what they're in there for. You can't keep just playing them against Brentford B team or this, that, and the other. Like, you've got to put them into a competitive game. And for me, that's a game like this is pretty ideal, because they've loaned out certain players that potentially you would have thought, we wish we could, like McAtee. I think McAtee's got the ability to play in the Premier League. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He scored in his debut at Barnsley, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, to seal the win.
2 days later, he scored. Yeah. Even Taylor, like loaned out to League Two, like. Obviously, the club see, and that's their way of testing it. But he's already proved that he can manage that league. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up top scorer in that league. So, I do think we will be blooding some fresh talent. And sometimes, if you look at certain teams, and that's where we haven't really been doing that. Other teams who've had these under 23 squads and stuff like that, even teams like Blackburn. You look at their lineup the other day against Watford, a lot of their players were homegrown, come from the youth team, and they're championship level. So you've got to do that, and you've got to be doing that. So I think we will do that. So yeah, after all
Yeah.
that, expect to see surprises, changes, and things like that. And
Oh yeah.
surprised to see Shea in goal, and none of the players starting at all who started the last game, and certain players not being on the bench, and quite a few youngsters there. But I do expect Johnson to probably start. Put him on the bench in the last couple of games. Start him, see what he can do. If he can play in that position, and which is Bell's position, then potentially. He's young though, but obviously they like him, and he did look good when he come on last season a couple of times. And did he even come on in the? Did he come on in the final as well?
No, I don't think so.
I think it's against Middlesbrough, and I think then
Yeah, Middlesbrough come on, definitely. I remember that.
Well, I think he comes with that. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I remember going Rotherham away as well. He was doing individual training.
Yeah, and what you got to think as well is like, yeah, we lost to Stevenage, but poorly. But then that showed certain players that up really, didn't it? Remember?
Yeah.
And the Newport, even though a couple of players done all right, not even Lockyer, he was poor in that game, but he still scored. Mendes Gomez scored an excellent goal in that game, but defensively we were a bit shocking. We can't be doing that, but I think it is a different era, and I think we might do quite well in the cup this year because we expect to go down. Obviously, we want to stay up, but if you went down and had a fantastic cup run, you still got that money in the bank. You get more exposed. Do you know what I mean? I'll be happy with that. I'll tell you what. No, quiz in. Obviously, would want us to stay in the Premier League, but no, it's difficult at the moment. Especially at the moment, it seems like we are struggling. But we will get better. And I make a point of watching a lot of the other games, and you can see if you're all switched on and you're playing together, which we're not. We're sort of a bit jagged. So Sheffield United against Man City was they won in the end, but Sheffield United made it extremely tough for them.
Yeah, did you?
How about that? So, and they're fancy to go down. Some of them were fancy to finish below us. Some of their fans were people were saying. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
Signed as many new players either. You see, they've got the core of their squad who've already played in the Premier League. Whether they've got relegated or whatever, they've already. Do you know what I mean? We've got a core of players at the moment, which is just they ain't clicked yet, but that will happen. You can see it patches slowly in patches happening. But this game's going to be totally different. But as a club, we should be looking to win this game for me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I remember, like you say about the lineup going to Chelsea FA Cup, and it was completely different to what I expected. So it's probably going to be rarely anything like I said. So I'll probably look at it tomorrow and go, wow, okay. But yeah, it's all interesting. But it's that time. Score predictions. Like I say, it's a difficult one for me just because historically how we've been, in this competition. The last time we played Gillingham in the League Cup was a 1-1 draw, and that was in 1979. So actually, the year you was born, Dad. You know what I mean? So that's how long ago it's been there. Obviously, in general, we ain't played them for quite a few years. In League One, it's a 2-2 draw. Positive for us against them is we're unbeaten against them in the last 3 games. 2 wins and a draw. Last time they beat us was 2015. So yeah, it's all interesting. But what's your score prediction for this one, Dad?
Well, they've never beat us at Kenilworth Road, I don't think. So generally we do well. It is potential banana skin. Yes, they beat Southampton, and I think they probably will cause us some problems. And because we're going to have a mixture of players, it is going to be quite difficult. I think we'll probably have players on the bench who will come on and change the game. I'm going to go for a lively game. But we're still going to be worrying about our defence. So I'm going to go 3-2 Luton.
3-2 Luton, goals galore.
Yep.
Well, that's quite funny, Dad, because I've gone with the same score prediction, 3-2 as well. I think there's going to be a lot of goals, and I think it might be one of them games where it's just goals galore. I really do think that, especially, like I say, the last couple of years, they've been goals galore. Newport was actually a 3-2 to them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the Stevenage, I think that was 2-2 in normal time, and that went to penalties, and it was 3-0 on penalties, and yeah, it was just shocking. As we know, that wasn't a good account to the T-Boys TV vlogs, I'll tell you that. But yeah, man, that is my score prediction as well. Goal scorers, I'm not even going to go there. I forgot to do it in the last one, but I'm not even going to go there because
it could be anyone.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, half the people that I've probably gone with are not going to start.
But if I do go with someone, if I'm basing it, I think Woodrow would definitely score.
Hopefully.
And Chio as well.
Yeah.
And it could be anyone, but it could be anyone anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go through some comments. Obviously, some people put in their score predictions, and we'll go through other comments before we wrap up. Lascelles, we should go all out and get him. That's a really good shout. Obviously, we were linked with him, towards the start. Again, he's got that leadership, he's got that Premier League experience, and he's not getting a game at Newcastle. So I definitely agree with that. He's on the bench, but he's not coming on, is he? He's not coming on. And yeah, he's definitely a player I would take, mate. I know I used to say, even when we weren't in the Premier League, I was like, if we ever go to the Premier League, before he retires, let's go all out and get him. Because he is a good player, man. He is a good player. I'm the same on this one, Max. I'm the same, mate. If he doesn't start, I think he's gone. I was saying that earlier. Stephen on this game, he says it's not a main priority, to be honest. Give some kids a run out and play the players that need minutes. Call Burke for fitness. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. Chill up front, yeah. Same as your dad there. There's that. Nah, mate, that's just died down. I haven't heard anything on it. Like I say, the 2 defenders we were heavily linked with, which is obviously him and Twanzebe, they've just died down, mate. So you never know, though. Someone else might pop up and we might get them because we do roll like that. Who would have expected Ross Barkley? We were rumoured with other players, Hannibal, for example, and then, Ross Barkley come out of nowhere. So it could be something like that, and I hope it is, because like I said, we really need to fill that position. Even last season we were saying it, when we were in a happy mood, you could say 24/7 because how good we were last season. Again, could see this, and it would be good if that was the case, because then you're seeing Bell in his actual position.
Yeah.
And Doughty can play very good on that right as well, which we saw last season at times. So, yep. Your midfield, Campbell and Berry. Yeah, fair enough, mate. Fair enough with that. And then, score predictions. Jackie's gone with 3-1. Make sure you put yours in quickly before we wrap up. That would be very good. Very good. I don't want to keep saying it week upon week, but Jackie does tend to be good at predictions. So hopefully that would be very nice. This one earlier, obviously we won't get into it till later in the week. We've got a big preview planned for that. Big up Mikado Media House. He will be dropping a video at some point, Premier League roundup, and I'm on it. So when it comes out, I'll, put it out so you lot can see it. He said Luton will beat West Ham 2-1. Mate, that would be good, man. That would be good. But like I say, that is a positive we have got. Obviously, we're not going to get into the game too much, but that is a positive we have got. We are at home. So we're going to finally see what we're about. Gary Neville said it, and I said it on your video yesterday. He said we're going to see what Luton are about at home. So we'll see, man. We've had some Newcastle fans earlier come into the chat. Appreciate that. So Isaac Hayden to Luton Town, you can have him from our team. He is not in our plans no more. From Kate and Jonathan, we are Newcastle United supporters. Have a good season, Luton Town fans.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, like I say, I would be happy with him coming in. I'm just surprised we haven't, tried to fill that defender role. Like I say, I know he can play it, but it's not his main position. So that's that. But yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, the last one of the last comments, Luton 2-1 Gillingham is my prediction. I can see it taking you a little while to win games based on the fixtures. Wishing you all the best. Yeah, it's going to be difficult, man. It is definitely going to be
difficult. Know we've got fight in us. We just haven't really seen it yet. That's all it is for me.
Yeah.
Neutrals will just go on them 2 games or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Highlights.
And you've got to take into account, they're very tough games.
Yeah.
Chelsea are not going to be like how they were last season. No chance.
Nah.
And Brighton, based on last season, they're a top 6 side. So it's one of them, but it doesn't get easier with how West Ham have been.
If we win one, I think that will help us massively. Where some teams that win one and then not win for another 6-7 games. I don't think with us. I think that will give us massive confidence.
Yeah. And even last season, I think I saw this thing the other day. Someone put it on this Luton group. We didn't have any points from our first 4, I think, last season. Yeah, we were down there.
Coventry,
and that was the season we got playoffs. I'm not saying we're going to finish top end because I don't think we will, but
it's too early. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see with that. Like I said, Jackie put 3-1. And Spencer has gone with a 3-0 to Luton. That would be very nice. A lot of confidence. Clean sheet as well. Be a good start to the new Kenilworth Road era, you could say, with that. There is also that comes into account, mate. Luton has at least scored this season. Everton haven't. Exactly. Yeah, I know. That's another thing that winds me up quickly. Everyone goes, well, don't wind me up. It just makes me laugh. People go, oh, you're going to get less points than Derby. But they're not talking about teams like Everton who haven't even scored yet. Do you know what I mean? And who are lower than us, by the way. But there we go. On that bombshell, I think I'm going to end it here before I get a bit too vexed there. But Dad, any final things you'd like to say on anything?
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a win tomorrow and that'll bring a bit more, because we've had it tough and this would help. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, just enjoy that. It's a test game anyway tomorrow, so that stand is completely closed, I think. Or they might have some people in there, whatever it is, they're going to test the camera angles and things like that, probably, and floodlights, things like that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, enjoy it. Like, you're going, isn't it? So you're going to see it. Take some pictures of it.
No, I will. Yeah, I will. And I'll put it on. I'll put it on the vlog as well. I'll probably do like a little slow mo. Put it in slow mo so you can see it. Because that's the reason why people go as well. Obviously to support the team, of course, but to see what it's looking like as well. And yeah, it's going to be good. Like I say, it's going to be difficult for me this season to get tickets. So make the most of it. Make the most of it. While I can, really, especially if the cup competitions, they're cheaper prices and that. So yeah, and I'm pretty much where I usually sit with Alex as well. I'm just a row behind, so still going to be a good view, and I'm used to it, and it's where the atmosphere will be, so it'll be good, man. It'll be good, but yeah, that is that. Upon the hat show, quite a lot of hat shows coming up this week. We're actually going to end up doing 3 by the end of the week. So we'll do one on Wednesday reacting to this. And then, like I say, we've got a big preview planned with a West Ham fan on Thursday. So we'll obviously preview that on Thursday. And then obviously a watch along I'll be doing to the game again. And yeah, the next watch along after that, unless any other televised games happen, will be Tottenham, which is another game at home as well. So yeah, man, that is that. A like count before we end it is on, I'll check in a second when it decides to load. But as for new subscribers, we have 3 away. We got a couple new ones the other day in the Chelsea watch along. So big up to yourselves for that. A couple Luton fans, and I think a Chelsea fan actually came in and subscribed as well. So I appreciate that. Obviously, we're getting closer to 1,800. Hopefully, we can hit that by the end of the West Ham watch along. That would be pretty good. And big up, man. Big up to everyone on this. This has got 16 likes already. I know a lot of people watch this back on playback as well. So big up to everyone that does that. And yeah, if you want to follow me across any of my socials, links to them are in the description. And subscribe to the other channel as well, T-Boys TV Extra, where I post clips of this on there and all of that. And I think this is a good way to wrap it up. Love this prediction. This would be absolutely mental if this happened. Talk about confidence. And that would definitely be a confidence booster.
Thank you.
So yeah, on that ending, we will see you lot in a bit. So take care and peace. Just remember quickly, deadline day on Friday. Good shout, Stephen. Let's do that again. Peace.